Hello everyone, welcome back to another video in this series of Java programs. In this video, we're going to start conditional construct in Java. We have already dealt with some of the easy programs in our previous videos. From this video onwards, the level will gradually increase. I've also changed the editor. Before I used to write in Eclipse. Now I have shifted to VSCode. I've used VSCode for my HTML coding, so I'm very much familiar with it. If you don't have VSCode, there are plenty of videos available on YouTube regarding the installation of VSCode. You can refer to one of those videos. Coming back to the video, we are going to discuss one of the simplest program of if-else construct, where we will find out whether a number is even or odd. So without much delay, let's get started. So let us first make a class even odd.java, enter. Okay, so public class even odd, this is the name of the class. Now the very first syntax after this we have is public static void main, and for that we will use a shortcut psvm and enter. So public static void main string args, and then we have the curly braces. After that, now this program is about finding out whether a number is even or odd, and for that we will first have to accept value from the user, accept a number from the user, and for that we will use a scanner class. And for importing a scanner class, we will first have to write a syntax something like this at the very beginning. Import java.util.scanner. Okay, now after importing, after writing down this syntax java.util.scanner, we will have to make a class, we will have to make an object of the scanner class, and for that scanner st is the name of the object. Okay, so we have made the object. Now the next thing that we will do is to declare a variable in which we will store the value. Okay, so let us take a variable as n, and this n is of integer data type int n and then semicolon. Now we will first print a value in the console that enter a number, and after that we will accept that number in this n variable. Okay, so for that the syntax will look like so as you can see, system.out.println enter the number, and after that, after this message, we will accept the value in this and n equals to st.next int. Okay, wait, we cannot use next line because this is not a string. We write int next int. Okay, so n equals to st.next int. So now we have stored the value. Now the next thing that we will do is to write down the actual code, actual logic of for finding out whether a number is even or odd. Okay, so the basic understanding of even number or odd number is that any number which is divided by, which is divisible by 2 is even, and those numbers which are not divisible by 2 odd numbers. Okay, now what do we mean by when we say being divisible by 2? That means whenever we divide a number by 2, the remainder is 0, right? And for finding out whether what is the remainder in Java program, we use an operator which is mode operator, which looks like the percentage sign, right? So let me just give you one example of how to use this percentage sign or mod operator to find out the remainder. Since we want to check whether this n is even or odd, so we will write n percentage sign 2. This syntax will return the remainder after dividing this n by 2. Okay, so if you simply want the quotient, then you will erase this percentage sign and you will write the forward slash sign, right? But we don't want the quotient, we want the remainder, and so therefore we will use the percentage sign. Now we want the result of this calculation to be stored in a another variable. So let us first declare one more variable. Let us say r. Okay, and we are storing the value of this calculation in r. Okay, right? Now after the division has been done and after the remainder has been stored in this r variable, we want to check whether the r is having the value as 0 or any other value. Okay, if the value is 0, that means the remainder is 0, then we will say this n value is an even number. If the value in r is other than 0, which will be always 1, and then the number is not an even number. So for that we will have to check the value of r, right? And here is where the if condition comes, right? So we will have to, since we are trying to use if, we will first write if, and then we will use a parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we will have to write the condition that we want to check. And what do we want to check? We want to check that does r has the value 0 or not. That means r equals 0. So whenever we are trying to check the condition, something which looks something like this, r equals 0, right? So we will always use 2 equals 2 sign together. If you simply write r equals 0, this will mean that you are trying to assign the value 0 to the r variable, which is not something that we are trying to do. So you will write 2 equals 2 sign together, which means that you are trying to check whether the value of r is 0 or not. Okay, so this is the condition r equals to 0. Now this condition has two values, or will return only two values, either true or false. If the condition is true, that is, if the value stored in r after this calculation is 0, then we will want to say that the number is even, right? So we will print this value, or we will print this message, the number is even. Okay, so let us just try to run this program and see whether this program is working properly or not. So as you can see, enter the number. We have been asked to enter a number. So for simplicity, let's take an even number. So 10. We click and the number is even, right? So they are displaying the message that the number is even. What if, let us just run the program again, and what if we take a value or a number which is not an even number? Let's take 11. So you will see there is no response from the console, because only and only if the number is even we are printing a message the number is even. We don't have any counter message that what if this condition becomes false, what will happen? So this is a very simple construct of if. We only have this if and the condition, and then the task which we want to do after the condition is true, right? For this, now what if the condition is false? Then for that we will want to counter print something. Okay, so whenever this condition will become false, the control will shift from this line to this line, else line, and then it will print this message, the number is odd. Okay, let us now try to run the program now and see what happens. So enter the number. So let us take 24. Press enter. The number is even. Okay, which is correct. Okay, now I've run the program again. Now let us take 25. Enter, and the number is odd. So as you can see, in the first case, when we did not have this alternative message, this counter message, then there was nothing shown on the console for the odd numbers. But now, since we have an else statement, so whenever this condition will become false, then there will be a statement which is the number is odd to be shown on the console screen. Okay, so let me just repeat the entire syntax. So what we are trying to do is, first we will print this value, print this message, enter the number. After that we will store the number in the n variable. Okay, and for that storing we are using the syntax st.nextInt. After we have stored the value, we are trying to find out the remainder that we get after dividing that n value by 2. Okay, and for that syntax we are writing n mod 2, and the value of this calculation is stored in another variable which is r, right? And after that, what we are trying to do is we are checking whether the value stored in r is 0 or not. If the value stored in r is 0, which is equal to 0, then we will print the message the number is even. If this condition is false, then we will want to print another message, and for that we have written down the syntax the number is odd. Okay, so this is how we use if and else. Whenever the condition will be true, the first statement will be executed, and whenever the condition is false, the second message or second line or second code or second part of the code is executed. Very simple. So this was the entire program of finding out whether a number entered from the console is even or odd. I hope that you understood the entire program, the entire code, the entire syntax. So this was all for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.